following program is intended for mature audiences.
Can I ask you kind of a weird question?
What do you say we have a rock and roll party?
Sure you want your one question to be that stupid?
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Okay, let's pick it back up with SC49er fan 15, who says he's trying to be a weasel here. What Ask Us Anything question are you really yearning to be asked but hasn't been asked yet? Well, Charles took care of that for me, so I'll let you guys handle it.
I don't know.
And what is the answer to that question? That's tying my brain in a knot here. I can't. I mean, is there anything that we would like to tell people that? I mean, this is the show where I don't know that we've ever held back anything. You know?
No. And but this is a weird question too, because if it's something that we wanted to be asked, then it would just be something that we would just talk about.
We just talk about it on the show, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's the best we can do with that, unless you've got anything to add, Mike, and we'll move on.
I'm disappointed that no one's ever asked us what our favorite colors are.
They actually did. First time around. Yeah, we did that.
All
right, then I got nothing.
I thought about it. I'm really disappointed no one's asked me who I want to get a beer with. I'll just have a beer with myself like I am right now. It's fine.
Okay, from Walter Sobchak. What popular... This is going to be interesting because there's going to be a lot of irony involved in my answer to this question. What's a popular acclaimed movie or TV series that you have never seen? Well, Walter, I've never seen The Big Lebowski. How about that?
What?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh.
The irony, right?
Oh, man. I mean, that's like your opinion or whatever, man, but...
It's not like I don't want to see it. I've just never bothered to sit down and watch it. I started it once, got through about 15 minutes, and then something came up and I had to leave, and I've never gotten to finish it.
Well,
is it worth it? I mean, is it good?
Oh, yeah. It's a classic.
All right.
Yeah, it'll tie your movie library together.
Another one, and I'll make this a quick story, is a Christmas story, and it's funny because my girlfriend's stepfather wants me to see that movie so badly, and now that I know it pisses him off that I've never seen it, I refuse to watch it just because I know it aggravates him.
Yeah.
And that's, Oh, and we've talked about it a million times before. I've never seen a James Bond movie still. And
there's 22 of them.
I know.
You can find at least one.
There's 24. There's 24 of them actually.
Oh, is it 24 now? Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some other stuff that's popular on the boards that I've never seen. So, but yeah, you guys go ahead. I've made my point.
I've never seen Christmas Story either, but I know the beats.
I know the whole movie. I could probably recite it to you, and I've never watched a frame of the damn thing.
It's just one of those things that's in culture. But I've never seen Top Gun. And I know that that's like something people. And then when it comes to TV, something that is always hard for people to understand, especially I find it strange. Sports journalists, this is like something that they've all seen, and it's like, you haven't seen The Wire yet? No, I've never seen The Wire.
I'm not going to be one of those people that berates you over that, but it's a very, very good show.
I know it is, and I have HBO Go, and I can watch it when I want to, and I want to. I'm gonna get to it, and
well, that's how I am with The Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
I want to, and I'll get to it. But to The Wire, I will put The Wire right up there with Breaking Bad and the all-time great TV shows. It's awesome. It's really, really good.
And I do want to get to it. It's just, and the thing with some of these older shows, it's like, well, how many seasons is it? Well, it's 6 or 7 seasons. Well, that's going to be commitment. That's I got to set that time aside. I'm not going to watch anything else. And same thing with HBO. My grandfather watched The Sopranos when it was on, and so I saw bits and pieces, but I've never committed to watching the entirety of The Sopranos before.
Can I say something about The Sopranos?
Sure.
Good show, but I'm going to say it's about 25% overrated. It was good. It was not this groundbreaking. It did not deserve as much praise as it got. It was really good, but it was not as great as people thought it was. I'm sorry. It was okay. Better than okay, but not... I wouldn't put it up there. I think The Wire's way better. I think Breaking Bad was way better. I think Better Call Saul is way better. And, great show, but not... The West Wing's better than The Sopranos. I just don't... It's a good show, but it's not like the greatest TV show of all time. Sorry.
West Wing, I haven't seen that either. But I know that's on Netflix, but I can get to it when I feel like it.
Speaking of Eric...
I keep thinking of all these ones that are on Netflix. Lost. I never saw that. But I watched the final episode because I wanted to see what everyone was talking about.
Oh, Jesus. If you watched that final episode, that's all you saw. You had no fucking clue what was going on.
Oh, I was like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, I could sit down and describe the entire 7 seasons of that show, knowing exactly what's going on, and listen to myself and go, I can't believe I'm trying to explain it. And I've seen it. Another one, I'll throw it in, and we got to get Mike in here. I've never seen Game of Thrones either.
Oh, well, that's just unacceptable.
Okay, all right.
It's like you love all these other TV shows, and trust me, I love Breaking Bad just as much as anybody else. I love Mad Men just as much as anybody else. I love all that stuff. Game of Thrones, bar none, best TV I've ever seen.
Okay,
incredible.
I think Trailer Park Boys is the best TV show ever, but that's just me. That fucking thing's awesome, man. All right, well, let's get to Mike here. We could get caught in this rabbit hole forever.
Anyway, Mike.
Never seen Sopranos, never seen Lost. And those are the only things that come to mind. Because usually if something garners like a lot of praise, I'll go out of my way to actually see it. Just like, even if I don't agree that it's that good, I still kind of want to see it. But I've never seen Lost or Sopranos. Another one, I never saw Titanic, the movie.
You didn't miss shit on that, Mike.
Well, I remember I rented it when I was in university because my whole thing was, okay, I should see this movie. And then I popped it in the DVD player, and then I think I fell asleep 10 minutes into the movie. And then I woke up and it was over. And that was it. So
I went and saw that movie in the theater, and there's a scene in it when the boat finally capsized, or stands straight up and is about to go straight down into the water.
Yeah.
There's a guy on the back deck, and he falls off, and as he's falling, he hits a propeller and starts flipping on the way down. And I fucking cracked up laughing. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And people looked at me like I was some sort of monster. I'm like, fuck you. That was funny. But you're not missing a thing with Titanic.
Oh, come on. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I guess after, last week talking about how I like chick flicks and stuff, I really shouldn't bash it. It's very, very well done. I just think the story was a little, little lacking.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's okay.
Why did that old bag throw that fucking gazillion-dollar gem into the ocean? I would have sold that bitch and been like, yeah, I'm a billionaire now. Fuck everybody. That's what I would have done.
Well, she's just an old lady that's being sentimental.
She could have had a really great life,
Well, what's left of it, I guess.
Yeah, but think about it. She had the thing since 1912, man. She could have sold that bitch back whenever and been, like a Rockefeller or a Carnegie or somebody for the rest of her life.
It's sentimental.
All right, I guess.
The personal effect.
All right.
She wanted to send it back to the sea.
Okay.
Where it belonged with the rest of the ship.
All right. Shall we move along?
Sure.
Near, far, wherever.
Yeah, see, it has a song by Canadian Treasure, Mike. You should watch it all the way through.
From friend of the show, Cosmic, Buffalo, New York. Local radio host normally ends his interviews with, do you have any questions for us? So do you have any questions you'd like to ask the listeners? No. I'd just like to thank you all for listening. That's it.
No, I have some questions.
Okay.
Why?
Dude, don't make them think about it. They may stop.
How do you listen to us? I'm always curious about that.
I think why is a good question. What about it? The show do you guys like? You talk to us about it. What the fuck do you like about it? What makes it weekly listening for you? So
do you get it? Do you listen because it just comes into your iTunes? Do you watch the YouTube version of it? Do we still do the YouTube version of it?
Yes, we do.
Do you just click on the download link and listen to it on Tumblr? How do you listen to the show? Do you do it when you're going to work? Do you do it while you're driving around? While you're doing housework? What do you do?
we've had some people like on Twitter and on the boards and on Facebook that have said some very, very nice things about the show. I think it was either Wild Wing or Marble. One of the two said that it helps them get through their work commute. And, there's some Twitter listeners that aren't on the boards that have said very nice things about it. But I would like to know what it is you like about it. Is it the same things we like about it, or is it something different, or what?
And because, it's the three of us, and a lot of times it's kind of without structure, we sometimes repeat ourselves. Like, I know a lot of our NBA discussions tend to cover the same ground over and over again, although, to be fair, that's because the NBA hasn't addressed the problem.
The NBA tends to cover the same ground.
Right, I was going to say, we're just doing what they do.
But, do you guys like that? Is there anything that you want us, is there something maybe that we haven't touched on? I'm just kind of curious what everyone else thinks. Not that we're going to take any of these suggestions under consideration or anything, To
borrow a phrase from our venerable and esteemed comment section of the CCSLC boards, CNC, please.
There you go. Yes. I'm good with that. Yeah. So let us know what you like and what you don't like, and we'll probably ignore it. But it's nice that we asked.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do you trust the process from Don't Care?
No. I don't care about the process.
What's the process?
Just the process.
Oh, is that the Sixers thing where they just kept losing?
Yeah, and so the mantra there is: do you trust in the process? Trust in the process.
Well, the Sixers still suck, so no.
No, you know what the best part is? The process keeps not working because these young kids keep getting injured. Their number one pick rolled his ankle in a summer league game the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh God!
So we shut down for the rest of the summer, which is fun.
All right, from Habs fan 1, when will the episode?
When will it be recorded and uploaded? We're recording now.
Yeah,
and it'll be uploaded when you're listening to it.
The uploads, and I'm sorry, they're kind of inconsistent lately, but we've been having some file issues and stuff. So, this last one was a very big file, and GarageBand just didn't want to cooperate, so it took me a little bit longer than normal to get it posted. But yeah, there you go. We're recording it now; it'll be up when it's done. Wow, we're getting towards the end here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Next question. This is from my girlfriend. and I will state this again. I did not influence this question in any way. I simply asked her if she would like to ask a question of the AMA show, and this is what she said. Does it bother you that she meant you, Mike and Zach, get to talk about hockey all the time, but you never get to talk about baseball?
We brought this up before, and you say that you don't even want to talk about baseball all the time.
Well, no, I've got an answer for this, because this question really sent me for a loop, and I'll tell you why. At first, I got pissed off, and I thought, you know what? We never do talk about baseball. And why the fuck not? Why do we talk about hockey? And then it hit me. It's like, this is on me. I'm the reason we don't talk about baseball. It's not their fault. It's mine. I mean, I could bring it up more, and Zach's right. I've said myself that I don't want to, I don't know what to talk about. I mean, we could, but it's not their fault. I guess what I'm trying to say. It's all on me. Well, I'm the one that I could dictate that conversation. It's not like you guys to say no, we're not talking about baseball. So
I think we brought this up before. There's a reason that you and I do basically a football show. And there's a reason why there isn't basically a hockey show, is because all of us like talking about hockey. So when it comes up, it comes up. But something that you said too is there's a reason we don't do basically baseball shows. You don't want to talk about the week to week machinations.
Right. So basically it's on me. I mean, I could throw more topics out there that are baseball related. And I think there are things I think we all have enough knowledge to talk about the broader themes of the season. But
the problem with baseball, I think, is just that because it's so long, it kind of just goes into the situation where it's like we're excited at the start of the season and we're excited at the end and we're excited during the playoffs. But there's a long stretch. We're in the middle of July right now. Do we really it's just hard to get excited about it. The week by week machinations of baseball are it's just so tedious, I guess. And that's not even a reflection of the sport as much as it is. That's kind of just how the scheduling breaks down. With hockey, it's a shorter season, and as a consequence, I think a lot more happens on a week by week basis as compared to baseball.
And like football, it's a weekly thing.
Well, I mean, if you sit down and you look at our sports calendar, okay, you know, and I know that probably the general consensus out there is that hockey takes up most of the show, but really it's not. Football takes up the bulk of the year on basically a sports show. It starts in about 2 weeks, and it'll start finding its way into the conversation, and it won't go away until late or mid-February. So, you know, that's part of it. And like I said, I could make a push to talk more baseball. I think that's on me. I think that if I said, hey, guys, I want to talk about this or that, I don't think I'd have a problem getting you guys to talk about it. And I don't want to talk about a series that the Tigers and the Padres played last week. That doesn't interest me either. But I do think we could do a better job of getting into some of the broader themes, you know, like stories about players and stuff as it comes up. And that's on me to pay more attention to that. So that's my answer to that. I would like to talk more baseball, but not just for the sake of talking more baseball. There has to be a reason to talk about it. That's the way I look at it.
We talk about it. I mean, hell, I remember when the season was about to start, we put off our prediction thing like a week because it was like, hey, do you want to talk about it? And you're like, no, we'll do it. We'll do it. It's like, all right.
But yeah, so that I think that
we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm the baseball guy, so that's on me. And if I find something I think is interesting enough in baseball to talk about, I will certainly bring it up. But as of right now, you know, I mean, does anybody? A better question, I think, is does anybody really want to hear us talk about the series between the Tigers and the Padres last week? I mean, what are we going to talk about? You know, Victor Martinez had 3 hits or whatever in a game. Okay, fine. Now what? So yeah, I think to close it, just to finish my thought on it.
Yeah.
When I find something baseball worthy to talk about, I will make sure I bring it up. That's the best I can do.
And I think somewhat, you know, I'm going to speak for you, Mike, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
The way that our jobs work is they revolve around the school calendar. And the majority of baseball is taking place in our off season, you know, and we're kind of just not paying attention, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of like it's summer. I'm doing other things is a good way to put it.
Right. Yeah. Like it doesn't help that the Angels aren't exactly the best team on the planet, and they're getting run out of the race by the friggin' Astros. But I'm doing other stuff. The team's not that exciting. Mike Trout's been injured. I'm just like I know generally what's happening in baseball, but I'm not following the thing on a day-to-day as much as I would, because also like I spent from a couple of weeks when even high school football practices start, and God help me, I covered a 7-on-7 passing league tournament this last weekend.
Yeah, I saw your thing on Facebook about that.
Ugh. But like when football starts, I have to be locked in and paying attention between middle of August all the way till the end of May. Then I get like 2 months to just not think about stuff. And that's when baseball is.
Let me throw this out there, okay? If I came in, like, say, next week and said, okay, guys, look, here's the thing with baseball this year. It's nothing but strikeouts and home runs. We need to, you know, what can we do to fix that? Would you guys, like, run me out of the room? No, right?
No.
If I said, okay, and we've talked about this at length, pace of play is a real problem. What are we going to do? That's the kind of stuff I'd be interested in talking about. But as far as like the day to day, no, I don't want to either. So I think that it's on me to if there's going to be more baseball, it's going to have to be on me to do it, and I'm fine with that.
That stuff matters when it comes to pennant races and the playoffs. Talking about who's getting off to a hot start, because I think partially we're all kind of burned. We've gone through enough of it that we know that a hot start in baseball means jack shit.
Yep.
It just the early season stories don't always mean something, but when they get sustained, like say like Aaron Judge, for example, right? If he had just had a hot start and hit like 10 home runs in the first 2 months and was, oh my God, look at this kid. And then he's hit like 5 since, we wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But he's hit 30 at the All-Star break, and that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, and it's like a Yankees record, I guess, that used to be held by Joe DiMaggio, and he did it in half a season. Yeah. But here's the thing, like, when we're in hockey season, I never show up with hockey stuff to talk about. You know, I just hop onto whatever you guys bring up, right?
Yeah, and I think when we talk about hockey, we're not talking about like, you see the Maple Leafs blow that game the other day? It's you know, if you guys are bringing the hockey stuff to the table, I think it's on me to bring the baseball stuff, and I've been lacking in my effort to do that. So, and again, I do not want to get into the day-to-day stuff because it's boring, and it doesn't make good radio, which is that's the biggest concern I have about it. It doesn't make good radio. Broader see that they batted him in the 8-hole?
Right. Broader theme stuff like, you know, the strikeout, home runs, and that's about it. That's something I'm interested in. The pace of play, that's something I'm interested in. You know, if a player does something remarkably fucking stupid, I'm interested in that. So that, to answer the question, it's on me. It's as simple as that. So I hope that satisfies her and anybody else that was interested. Any more? Should we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
If you could know the truth to one question, what question would you ask? Boy, it'd be so easy to go back and just go, did Lee Harvey Oswald act alone? Wrap that up with a nice little bow, right?
Gee, I don't know, man.
I'd have to know if there's an afterlife. That would be my question. Because it would change my whole approach to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It is.
Okay.
I think, that answers so much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I as a 27-year-old, I get hung up sometimes with, like, if I'm just sitting around and I have nothing to do, nothing to think about, and like I read a story, it's like somebody died. It's like, wonder what it's like. And then you think of it, well, it's probably the same thing as what happened before you were alive, and it's like, well, I can't remember that. That's strange. That's a weird feeling. I think you get that bad rabbit hole.
Well, speaking of that, and speaking of Netflix, there's a movie called The Discovery on Netflix. A little small film. It's got Robert Redford and Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother and a couple other people in it. What's his name? From Friday Night Lights, the dorky kid that dated the hot blonde. I can't think of his name.
Shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? He was also a Todd in Breaking Bad.
Right.
Anyway, it's the movie. The premise of the movie is that Robert Redford's character has come up with overwhelming proof that there is some sort of afterlife, and it's just a cool premise for a movie. You should check it out. Anyway, let's move along. Have any of you ever cheated on someone?
No.
Have I ever cheated on someone? That's a gray area. Because it kind of goes back to, I think, our last Ask Us Anything question, like the worst thing I ever did, which is when I ended a relationship by just cutting off contact.
Right.
And there may have been some overlap there, depending on how one wants to quantify the relationship ending.
Okay.
But, yeah, so.
Well, I'm going to be honest, yes, but it had only happened after she cheated on me. So I don't even know if you can count that as cheating or if it was just more like revenge, but yes, that one time.
I have been cheated on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too.
But I guess the only thing that's even close, and it's not even the same thing. Like when you're dating somebody, you know that it's just not going somewhere, and you're already looking like, where are you going to go when you're done with this person?
Mm-hmm.
But that was a very short period.
Yeah, no, I saw her driving home from a guy's house one night, and I said, okay, you know what? And there was a girl this was when I was in college, and there was a girl that liked me in one of my classes, and I said, you know what? Since she's doing it, I'm going to do it too. But that's the only time.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, did you answer that? Yeah, you did.
Yes.
Gray area, that's right. Let me see here.
We've got one from
victory entries that didn't win.
Oh man, there's a lot. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
I know one that I was crushed. Didn't even get to the final. Did he get to the final four? The BB-8 thumbs up lighter.
Oh yeah.
Made the Final Four, but I think I got beat.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that.
I've been disappointed that Ancient Aliens guy didn't go the distance.
Yeah.
And I was also disappointed for my own bracket that Iron Man didn't make a go at it. I was betting that year that the voters wanted to see Iron Man versus Batman in the finals, and they let me down.
That happened to me once where I tried in my own bracket. It was the second year because we had the rule where it's like, okay, we're gonna bring him back. So I put Batman number 1, and I was like, okay, I don't want him to just run through this tournament again. So I made my number 2 seed Walter White. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, they'll meet. Walter White's hot right now. It was like the last season of Breaking Bad. He'll knock him off. And then Batman like destroyed him. And I was like, oh, well, there was my idea that got shot up in no face. So yeah, that happened.
I'm sure there have been a bunch. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
How many of your chimps that didn't win are you disappointed in?
Well, the one that I think the two that disappointed me the most were Bartender Chimp and Chimp Astronaut. I really thought Chimp Astronaut was the one that would break through for the Chimps. It turned out it was a Chimp Mariachi band, but I really thought Chimp Astronaut was the one that would take it home, but he didn't. I'm trying to think of other ones that.
Oh, another one I'm disappointed in: Cosmic Turtle.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that one too. I really thought that one would do a lot better. Yeah, I agree.
Jupiter
that was first round by something ridiculous.
By a statue. It was the KFC statue.
Well, yeah, there's one. Okay, KFC statue I thought had a good chance of going all the way too and didn't. Yeah, there are lots of them.
There's a few of them that have just like got a life of their own, and you say, "Oh, well, this one's going to do it," and then sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I mean, the tournament every year it seems to disappoint us in some way or another because it never goes the way we plan on it going.
Yeah.
Okay. From our friend Adam, Mike, take these from Adam here.
Okay, from Adam, what questions do you hate to answer?
Yours.
I hate answering questions from Adam.
I generally speaking, I don't like answering questions that are too CCSLC specific because, believe it or not, we do have listeners elsewhere, and I don't mind talking about the CCSLC because it's still our home base, but I don't like getting so inside baseball with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's one thing to bring it up in reference to stuff that's happened with us on there, but we keep it pretty general. But some of the stuff that popped up in this year's Ask Us Anything thread was so specific that I don't know that the CCSLCers listening would have understood half of it. It was that deep into the history of the boards. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. A question in general that I hate to answer is when anybody asks me about work. That's always like a small talk thing. So how's your job going? Well, I show up and they pay me. What the fuck more do you want to know?
Yeah,
I don't like that one.
Yeah, like anytime you go to family function, it used to be with school. How's school going? It's like, and then you walk over to the other relative. Oh, how's school? Oh, well, it's fine, and it's go to class.
Yeah,
okay.
and then you get out of school and it's how's work going?
Right. Well, yeah, and I get that now. Well, how's work? I mean, fine. I cover games and do that.
Yeah,
and then you see them again like 2 months later. Yeah, how are things, man? The same.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of related because it's related to work. I really don't like answering questions that have to do with history, and a lot of people in my family who know me because I do have history degrees always ask me a lot of stuff, and then I find out later the only reason they were asking me was because they wanted to show off to someone else on like Facebook or something. And they're like, and so that gets frustrating.
Well, I get that, Zach. You probably don't get it because you don't work in the production side as much. But for some reason, people think because I work in television production that I know how to hook up their cable, or why their TV won't work, or things like that. It's like I'm as clueless as you are. I don't know how television works. To me, it's like this magical black rectangular thing that puts pictures up. It's voodoo as far as I'm concerned, but that bugs me too. Like, my cable doesn't work. Can you tell me what's wrong? It's like, no, I'm not a cable man. I make the programs. I don't know how to put them on there. Sorry, go ahead.
in the same vein, it's, well, I'm a writer. I write sports articles. So can you write this letter for me?
Yeah.
No. One, it's my job. I get paid for it. So what are you going to pay me?
Oh, that's
Two, it's like, can you? My cousin who is just graduating high school. Oh, he needs help with an essay. You help him. You know how to write.
Right.
No.
I've had that too, and I'm not even a writer by trade. I wrote a little bit. Another one that I get is if a relative's getting married. Oh, we're going to let you do the videography. It's like, well, thanks. I really kind of wanted to come to the wedding.
They're going to let you do it.
Right. I get to come work. Thank you for that.
I love that.
The last time, I think it was my stepsister did, I said, well, okay, and right after that, you can come, I forget what her job was. I'm like, you can come do that at my house. I'm like, no, I'm not working at your fucking wedding. Hire someone. Cheap bastards. All right. In what ways do you hold yourself back?
I'm way too cautious in a lot of areas of my life, and I found that, and I tend to, and I know this is going to sound like I'm humble bragging, but I'm really not intending it to be, because I don't necessarily view it as a positive, but I tend not to consider what's best for me a lot of times at the expense. Like, I tend to always default to what would be better for other people over myself, and and so that always gets to be a problem. I got to the point where, like, I actually had that debate when I took my current job in Florida. Like, it was a great opportunity, but at the same time, it was also like I put myself ahead of some other people. And even though it was the right thing for me by, like, every metric, I still felt guilty about that.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, yeah.
Charles, if you're still listening, that's another thing you don't want to do. What Mike just brought up there. Why do I hold myself back? I don't like being seen as the bad guy. Like, I don't want to be the one that says no, and it gets me, I get myself in so many situations. And it's not big stuff. It'll be little things like, hey, you want to come over to our house for dinner on Thursday? And instead of just going, no, I say, yeah. and then then as it gets closer, my girlfriend and I start talking like, how are we going to get out of this? And it's like, we still haven't learned to just say no. And I put myself in situations where I didn't want to do it, but I agreed to do it. And, I end up doing a lot of things I don't want to do because of that. So I don't know if that's holding me back so much, but it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, no, that's it, all that. Even the same with you and your girlfriend, Greg. It's me and my girlfriend. We get, it's like, well, you don't want to just flat out tell the person no,
right?
Because if you tell them no, then it's like, well, why don't you want to come? Why do you not like us? It's like, no, I just don't want to go. And I mean, that all of it put together is just the fear of saying no to people.
Yep.
It's like, oh, can you help with this? Sure, I'll help. And then you get sucked into a thing, and it's like, oh, it'll be 5 minutes. 2 hours later, it's like, doing something else. I really didn't want to, but I said it, and here I am, and now I'm stuck.
Yep. Anything else on that, or can we move on?
Yeah.
What person would you never want to meet?
Person I would never want to meet.
I don't know that I have an answer for that. Even the most vile person, I can think of a reason to meet them. I mean, not maybe in a good reason, but like just a morbid curiosity or anything. I don't really have an answer for that one. I'm sorry, Adam.
Yeah, no, same. Like, there are even people who are absolutely vile who I want to meet so I can have an opportunity to punch them in the face.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's a reason to meet someone. So.
Well, I guess this almost goes back into something that we answered before, Greg, where it was like, where you didn't want to do the interviews because you didn't want to ever have to say something bad about somebody.
Right.
But it's like, if there's somebody that I've offended or, that I've said bad things about, and then they hear it, and then you have to meet them face to face and they know, it's like, hi, yeah, what's up?
Well,
didn't mean what you said.
I will tell you this is something I've learned over the years, is that the best thing you can do in a situation like that is just own it. yes, I said it. I'm sorry if it upset you, whatever, because it's the quickest. It's like the, like having a Band-Aid pulled off. You can try to slowly do it, or you can just rip that fucker off and get it done. And to me, it's just like, yep, I said it. I'm sorry. And if you're pissed, I'm sorry, and blah, blah, blah. But, okay, are we ready to move on? I really don't know who I wouldn't want to meet. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I got nobody in particular. 5
years is a long time to be doing anything. How do you fight out the feeling of monotony, burnout, doing a show like this week in and week out? We kind of already addressed that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just like showing up and talking.
Yeah. So, go rewind like 15, 20 minutes and hear what we said before. Pretty much covers it.
Occasionally, it's like I said, I forget that we have to do the show today or something.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh, I have to do it today.
There are times when I'll come into it going, okay, it's not I'll think, we're not going to do a good show tonight. Turn out being a really good one.
Yeah.
And then there are times where I'll come into it all excited, ready to go, and it's like, wow, we just can't seem to find any traction. But I don't ever look at it as monotonous or like that. But, it's just like anything. I mean, we just show up and do it. It's an hour a week. I mean, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
Do I miss doing interviews like you did on the LogoCast? Well, we kind of addressed the interview thing, too. I will just say this about the LogoCast. I still stand by the fact that if done correctly, that could be a very good show.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it fills a niche that I don't really see as being filled.
I think it could be a big podcast if done right with the right people and the right commitment from everybody. I think if we quit tomorrow and decided to do a LogoCast, it would be 10 times bigger than this show just by rolling it out. We don't have to do much more than that.
No, I agree with that, because that's one where you're not talking necessarily about topics week to week,
right?
Because it's not something that comes up all the time. So you have to produce a show. You have to think of conversations and get a guest to talk about a thing they made. It's like, well, have you seen the Angels logo? Well, we've got the guy that designed it. You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I will give Mania Mike from the board's credit. He came up with just a genius idea with that show, and it had some legs for a while, but it did exactly what Zach said that he thought Bass was going to do. It didn't show up for a week, then it became 2 weeks, and then the next thing you know, it was just done. And that show was too much potential. I still hold out hope that I'll bring it back somehow. I don't know how, but someday I will. Okay. Is there one GTOV victory you wish you could have vetoed? Oh, there's a bunch.
Honestly, and I'll say this honestly, I wish we could go back and not have the winners return and not have Batman win the second one again.
Yeah. I mean, quite a few.
With that, we nipped that in the bud so that it wasn't going to happen all the time where we're going to have somebody winning year after year after year.
Yeah.
But that's one I would take back just so that we could get a little bit more variety.
Mike? I actually don't have any ones like even Batman winning twice in a row. I think is fine, because I think it kind of creates sort of this. It creates, I guess, interesting conversation. Like, you look back at the glorious tournament victory, it's like, oh yeah, there's this one time where the same guy won twice in a row. That'll probably never happen again. It's cool. I don't mind it.
Is it, for a second there, I mean, this show, 5 years of the show, and it's also got this ridiculous tournament that's become like part of the overall canon of the show, basically. I think we've done a pretty good job with this thing overall. Who wants to pick it up from there?
We don't really have too many going on after that, huh?
There's just like 3 left. Well, look at us go. Yeah. We really picked up the pace this week.
Who have been your least favorite players on your favorite teams?
Oh, wow.
This is from Tear.
With the Rangers, Eric Lindros.
I tend to find a guy just about every year where it's like, God, I hate this guy. Why is he on our team? Such a waste of space. Last year, there's a couple guys on the Ducks. Like, Jared Bowl is just a waste of fucking flesh at this point. He has no reason to be on an NHL ice. I hate Kevin Bieksa. He's a waste, and he made us had to screw around so much at the friggin' expansion draft this year because he got a no move clause for whatever dumb reason. But over time, Jeff Friesen, there's the guy. That's the one. That's it. Found Fuck Jeff Friesen when he was with the Ducks. He was a guy that we got back in return for Timu Solani. He hated being here, didn't want to be here. He talked his way out and got to New Jersey, where the very next year he ended up beating the Mighty Ducks in the Stanley Cup final, and he scored a goal in that Game 7 and skated by the bench laughing at us. And for some goddamn reason, he's been allowed into the Ducks alumni program, and he shows up wearing a Ducks alumni jersey to events and stuff because I guess he lives here still. So screw you, Jeff Friesen.
All right.
Sorry,
Mike. I just the one that just really stuck out to me is Eric Lindros. I never liked him when he was with Philly, and when he became a Ranger, I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I'm gonna throw him in for the Maple Leafs too, because he came to Toronto after his stint in New York, and he actually had a bit of a career renaissance where he was actually doing very good. Matt Sundin went down of an injury, and Lindros kind of stepped up on the Maple Leafs to be to kind of carry the team, and then he got this minor wrist injury. His doctors, all the team doctors were like, "You're fine, you can play," and he refused to play anyway because he was a head case about that sort of thing, and he kind of screwed over the Leafs season there. So Lindros, definitely. I'll also add Corey Cross to the list. He was a Maple Leaf during the early 2000s, and he was just the worst. Like, he was just terrible. Like, every time he was a defenseman, every time he was on the ice, like, you just clenched up because you knew something bad could happen. And going over to football, Nate Kading for the Chargers, because how many goddamn playoff games we lost.
Along the same vein, Mike, for football, Mike Vanderjagt, or as Peyton Manning called him, or idiot liquored up kicker.
I'm gonna go back to the original Browns, Andre Rison, when Art Modell signed him, because he was, first off, he was an asshole. Well, Art Modell was too, but Rison was an asshole, first off. Secondly, Art Modell spent way too much money on him, which was one of the dominoes that had to fall that eventually led to the Browns moving to Baltimore. So I never liked Andre Rison. He became a Brown, and wow, it just went really downhill from there.
Oh, and Angels, Josh Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Never liked him either.
Nope, waste of space, waste of money.
Big time waste of money.
I might be adding Patrick Marleau to this list in terms of waste of money.
He's gonna be the leader.
Is he coming to the Leafs, Mike?
Yeah, he is.
$6.25 million a year.
You mean to say he left San Jose?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a 38-year-old that signed a 3-year deal. With making over $6 million a year.
Wow, wow! You guys really do have money to burn up there in Toronto, don't you?
Yeah, like MLSC has more money than God, so it's fine.
And to their defense, they're in a weird situation where like all their best players are on entry-level contracts, so they're not making a whole lot of money. So they don't have to pay these kids for another 2 years. But that's why the 3-year contract doesn't make sense for Marleau, because you're going to have to pay Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and all those kids in 2 years. So.
Yeah, but it's only $6 million. I mean, and especially in Toronto, that's not that much.
The only thing, like, I don't know. I'm not as pissed off about it as I could be, because, like you said, Zach, like they have the room to pay him, and it's kind of a thing where it's like, hey, if he actually does half of what they're paying him for, it'll be a net gain. I'm just happy that they got Marleau and not Thornton.
Yeah, Joe Thornton is making $8 million next year for the Sharks. Good luck with that.
Jesus Christ. God damn it, San Jose.
Wow.
At least that's just a 1-year deal, so whatever, but still.
I don't think his knees have a year left.
He's coming off a torn MCL. What are you talking about, Mike? He's a spring chicken. He's ready to go.
Okay. Well, let's save this for a hockey season. All right.
Yeah.
Where are we here?
Last film, TV show that you cried at.
Wow.
I actually skipped one, but we'll go back to it.
Geez, it's been a long time.
I think for certain things, it's an easy button to push for me. Like if you tell the story well enough, you can get me. So at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet, but did I love the first one.
When Han Solo died.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it didn't affect me that much. I think maybe because I expected it. I don't know. It just didn't bother me all that much.
I thought I would be expected. I thought it wouldn't affect me because I was expecting it, but I didn't bawl or anything. But I teared up when it happened.
Yeah, it's you can expect it, but once you actually see it like physically happening, you're still like, Han Solo just died.
Wow. And they built, and the way that it was shot, like you still maybe lied to yourself that there's a chance that it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I honestly, if I see the movie Apollo 13, it gets me every time. League of Their Own. Oh my God! I think Andy and I talked about this a while back. That last scene in League of Their Own where the old lady ball players are at the Hall of Fame. Fuck, I cry like a baby when I see that. I do. I just, and that's a really underrated sports movie. It's a really, really good film. And if you guys don't agree, I can get Andy on here and we'll set you straight. If you could go back to oh wait, we've got one more in here. If you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah, we skipped that one.
I don't.
Going down, dog. Come on.
Oh, I can hear him. He sounds happy.
He's just all up in my face right now.
Let me think. One album for the rest of my life, what would it be? God, I don't know. I hate questions like that because I like music too much to just stick to one album. Probably. Oh, wow.
I'd say Broadsword and the Beast by Jethro Tull.
I'm going to go with the U2 album, I think. And I'm probably going to go with All That You Can't Leave Behind. Just because it's varied enough that I'd get sick of it quick, but I could probably get back to it. So, and I haven't listened to it in months, but that's the one I'll go with.
Despite Metallica being my favorite band, as we talked about earlier, I would probably go Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication.
Okay.
Not bad.
For the rest of my life.
And finally, if you could go back to being any previous age of your life for a year, what age would you choose to be again?
19, so I could get the thrill of being able to go into bars legally all over again.
So, well, along those same lines, 21. Because we're a lesser nation than Canada in that regard.
17, and if I know what I know now, I would be 17 again, and I would take my baseball playing a hell of a lot more seriously than I did. Because I actually was good enough to get some attention from some scouts, but I was like half-assing it. So that's 17, and I would do that right. And then you guys would be wondering, then somebody would be sitting here in my spot wondering why you guys don't talk about me more from baseball. And one last question from Wild Wing 64, and then we can wrap it up.
Does Greg deserve a Hall of Fame vote?
If you have to ask the question, he doesn't get in.
Right, exactly. If you could go back in time and take ownership of any expansion franchise, what would you have named the team instead? Oh, God, I don't know.
Well, he was piggybacking off his... This is Wild Wing 64 piggybacking off his Vegas from part one. And that would be as we said then, the Aces. I still think that's a good one. I'm trying to think of teams and like potential names that they gave up on. Oh, I remember what I thought of when we were talking about this question. Minnesota Wild. Mm-hmm. The other options they had aren't the best, but you got to find something else than Wild. Like
Northern Lights
is stupid. Blue Ops, whatever was dumb. Like I don't know.
I like Northern Lights in a way, in sort of like, I kind of like the pettiness of it. It's like, fine, we can't be the North Stars.
Yeah, there was another one where it was like White Bears. Was that what it was?
It was like White Bears or Polar Bear. Was it Polar Bears or something? Something Bears.
Was there another? I think Voyagers was in there, like the French spelling.
Yeah.
But anything other than Wild, I think.
I actually think Voyagers would have worked really well given the vintage design that they've kind of embraced.
Oh, wow. What was it, expansion team or any team?
Expansion.
I would go, okay, one I would change, and this goes way back to an article I read in Sports Illustrated like 100 years ago. Before they became the Rockies, Denver had a AAA team called the Zephyrs. I think they're in New Orleans now. Mm-hmm. And they had thrown together an entire identity package for when Major League Baseball came to Denver with the Zephyrs. And I mean, they had this it was a great uniform set. I think the colors were like green and red. I mean, really nice color combination. Great uniforms, the whole bit. They were going to shorten it to like the Z's and all that. And then they went with the Colorado Rockies, which was a hockey team before that. So I would say the Denver Zephyrs. I would have changed the Rockies and went with the Denver Zephyrs, the original idea. That would be mine.
I don't know
what Tampa Bay's baseball team could have been called. Do we have like any of those alternate names? Or is Devil Rays the best of them?
I've honestly never heard it. Like, usually you hear a couple stories for each team, but I've never heard anything for Tampa.
Yeah,
I thought there were like a list of names that they could have gone by that were better. What's that one that everybody likes? It was their old minor league team.
Oh, the Tarpons?
The Terrapins. The fish. Tarpon, yeah. Or
you
sponge.
know what? I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that because Devil Rays was kind of hokey, but Devil Rays was kind of hokey, but it was fine, I guess, in the 90s. But then when they shortened it to just Rays, and they don't even know if it's a ray of sunshine or the fish anymore, like Tarpons, like Tampa Bay Tarpons, like that would have. I think Tampa Bay Tarpons would have been cool.
Yeah, and I think baseball has got a little more room to work with on stuff like that, where you can get a little more creative with your identity, like the Zephyrs or the Tarpons. Because you've got a history of that. Like, I mean, a Dodger, I mean, it's, was based off people dodging trolley cars, I guess.
Yeah.
Things like that. Athletics, names along those lines. I think you got a little more room to work with. And I just always thought the Colorado Rockies was just a weak name. And I'm with you on the Devil Rays and the Rays, too, Mike. They could have done so much better than that.
And maybe this is just me, but I always thought that the Tarpons throwbacks that the Rays would wear now and then looked neat. Like, here's like here you go. Like, this isn't a bad look for a baseball team. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's simple red and white. But you know what? You could go with that old name and maybe do the green color scheme that they had for a while there.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of things that could have made it better. The Rays, now they're basically the Padres East, sort of. And it's just a generic, boring name, and I'm just tired of that. Let's go have some fun. Zephyrs, Tarpons.
Besides, this was the Tarpons logo. How is that not awesome?
Right, huh? Come on.
It's a fish with a baseball bat.
Right, and it's not even an angry fish. He's a happy fish with a bat.
Exactly.
We're not talking like angry fish with a hockey stick. This is happy fish with a bat and a hat.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Baseball is the perfect sport for that kind of whimsy.
Yeah.
And, we could have had a Major League Baseball team that had a smiling fish with a baseball bat, and we were wrong for that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
Charlotte Bobcats.
That's another one. Yeah. We could have done a lot better, right?
But hey, they got points back, so I was going to ask, did the Pelicans count as this?
I don't know how that history shook up.
Dude, we're still waiting for everything to show up with FedEx to figure out what history belongs where and with whom.
No. Here we go. You want to change an expansion team name? The Browns. That's a dumb name.
Oh,
and they're an expansion team. They'll tell you so officially.
I thought when the Bobcats were founded, they had a couple options. Like I remember the two other ones that were floated were Charlotte Air and Charlotte Dragons, and I'm not sure Bobcats is the worst one out of those. They're generic. They're too generic to matter.
I just think they could use
those are names that you settle on when you're trying to name your new high school team.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The Eagles, the Wildcats.
Charlotte's got a big airport. They're a hub for it used to be U.S. Airways. I don't know what it is now, but there's just so many better directions they could have gone with than Bobcats. And everybody's trying to do the catch-all, safe. I don't know. I just think we could use a little more whimsy is the best word I could come up with. that Mike said.
I will say this as far as Bobcats goes is that as kind of generic as it was, at least I can say that was their name as opposed to the Hornets, which they took from another team. So all this being said, I would much rather them be the Charlotte Bobcats and the Charlotte Hornets. In fact, so much so that right after they announced the Bobcats were renamed the Hornets, I went on the NBA's shop and ordered a Bobcats sweater that I still have.
There you go. Well, okay, I'm going to use another example here of this. I think Mariners is a pretty good name for the team, but I think Pilots, which was what they were for the 1 year before they became the Brewers, is a better name. It's Seattle's got Boeing and the whole aviation industry, and Pilots. It's a cool name. Mariners is great. It's a good one, but Pilots is better, and it's got the whimsy, and it's just got more of a baseball feel to it, you know.
Pilots also worked because you could tie it in with the Sonics at the time,
right?
And also it lended itself to a really unique hat because you could do the pilot livery on the bill.
Yeah, I've got one of those hats, and it's one of my favorites. But yeah, I think Pilots would have been a cool one. I think most of the expansion teams we could have done better. Jacksonville Jaguars, we couldn't do anything better than that. You know,
alliteration. I think the NFL has been pretty good about names.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any,
for the most part.
Texans is kind of weak to me.
Well, see, I think that's the best of the bunch. Granted, it's reused, but I like it.
It's so arrogantly Texas, like
yeah.
And I also kind of follow the theory that Robin Williams put out during one of his stand-up routines, which is that they were so shell-shocked from the Oilers leaving that they called the team like the Houston Texans. So it's like, yeah, you're not going to move this team to Tennessee and call them the Tennessee Texans. So, honestly, I think the NFL has the best track record. Like, Jaguars and Panthers are both a bit generic, but at the same time, they're not as generic as Bobcats, and I think they work. Like, Jaguars is just the name of a big cat, but no one else uses it, and it's alliterative, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I just think you could do better. But then we did manage to get the Buccaneers out of the NFL. Mm-hmm. Seahawks isn't a bad name. Who are some of the other expansion teams? Vikings. That's a good one for Minnesota, really.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Dallas Cowboys that's probably the best, right?
I mean, Dallas Cowboys is probably like the single most perfect sports name of you could honestly ever think of.
Miami Dolphins, that was a good one. Cincinnati Bengals, but see, that's another one where, okay, it doesn't make any sense, but it works. It's a good name.
Right. It's not just calling them the Tigers,
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a Bengal. It's a specific.
Yeah. And I kind of liked that, because Paul Brown was involved in it. So like he went from the Cleveland Browns, he went to another Ohio city that started with the letter C and named his team a name that started with B, and they had orange helmets. And
and if you
nice
look at their first set of uniforms, they looked exactly like the Browns.
Yeah, they did.
The jerseys are black instead of brown, but I mean, not exactly like, but there was a huge.
Didn't they take Paul Brown dying for them to change the uniforms?
They changed them in 81 was the first year they wore them, and they went to the Super Bowl that year with the helmets that we know now.
Was Paul Brown dead by then? Because I
honestly don't know.
I had always heard that they could only change them after he died because he was super traditional and wouldn't bet them.
Well, there's a picture of him holding a prototype of that helmet.
Mm-hmm.
No, he died in 91, so they had those uniforms for 10 years before he died.
All right. One of my favorite things about that picture of him holding that prototype is that apparently it's not in the shot, but during that session where they had all those Bengals prototype helmets, there was one of them that just had the phone number to call for season tickets on the side.
Nice. I liked their original uniforms. I mean, yeah, they were kind of boring and bland, but they were for a simple look. I thought it looked pretty cool. But anyway, have we got anything else, or are we done with our third annual Ask Us Anything episode here?
I think that does it.
All right. I don't think we've got any more questions.
Unless we want to bring in moving names, because then I'd say Rocky Mountain Extreme. We missed out.
Rocky Mountain Extreme. I'm almost kind of sad that we didn't get that. Another one was when the Devils were thinking about moving to Nashville, and we almost got the Nashville Hockey Tonks.
That's fucking awesome. Come on.
Uh-huh.
I think it is. See, but you guys want more like, you want things to be a little more austere than I do. I'm like, fuck, let's have some fun.
It'd be funny in retrospect now because if you had the Rocky Mountain Extreme, they would have rebranded twice by now.
Yeah.
It's just like they'd have a new name, they'd have a new city, they'd be.
See, like I think Columbus should have brought back.
Well, I guess that'd be different too because they would have won the cup.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Extreme would be carved on the side of the Stanley Cup forever.
I remember people flipping out when the Ducks made the final in 2003. Like, oh, we might have to put Mighty Ducks on the cup.
Oh God, it's a fucking nickname of a sports team. Lighten up.
Well, we all won that one.
Yeah. Well,
they won the cup the year they went to just Ducks. That was
who did they lose to in 2003? Was that Devils?
The Devils.
Yeah.
Devils. Yeah.
Anyway.
That was in the middle. That was like peak trap. So
Yeah, I remember that. Let's put a pin in this. I think it's another discussion we could carry over into another show, guys. Some of this naming stuff. So I'm gonna write it down.
I'm trying to think. Like the only other thing that comes off the top of my head right now is like the Sharks. Not that I have a problem with Sharks. I think it's a fine name, but
the other possible name was Blades. So that's
you can do better than that.
Apparently, right? Blades was what won the Name the Team contest. Like the owners had to step in and go, "No, it's going to be Sharks," which is just weird that the fans chose like something so generic. But if it were me, like if I could go back in time and be the person who owns the Sharks when they come into the NHL, I'd probably go whole hog and just be the Seals.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was just going to say. I would have much rather seen Columbus bring back the old Crusaders identity from the WHA than, Blue Jackets, I guess, is fine, but the Columbus Crusaders, that's a nice name. Got your alliteration, you got the whole thing going on there.
Well, you know what the second choice was behind Blue Jackets, Greg?
Oh, it was something really stupid. I don't remember.
Justice.
God.
The Columbus Justice.
I'll tell you, if that happens, I'm still a hardcore New York Rangers fan to this day.
The only way that could have been salvaged is if they made Cop Bobrovsky their mascot.
Yeah. And
all
again,
right.
if we're gonna do moving teams, the Oklahoma City Thunder is the winner. By the way,
What were there any other options?
I don't remember.
I want to say the Renegades were in there somewhere, but I could just be remembering that incorrectly.
Oklahoma Outlaws.
Yeah, something along those lines. But anyway, guys, we're like closing in on 2 hours here, so let's wrap it up. We can pick this up again next week if you want. And
people are still here.
And thanks everybody again for all the questions. They were great, and we'll do it all again next year. And with that, I'll remind you to follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Check out all the episodes of the old shows on Tumblr at basicallysports.tumblr.com. You can subscribe via iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube and Stitcher, and find us on Facebook. And with that, we will see you next week.
Later.
Later.